for the fathers around the globe. We love you more than you'll ever know. For the strength you gave me, you're truly amazing. Happy Father's Day. Place you on the highest pedestal. We love you more than you'll ever know. You chose to man up, you chose to stand up. Happy Father's Day. From my first breath to my first steps, Pops, you took me under your wing. So I'm under a king, which means I was destined to achieve anything, realize any dream, success.
Hello anglers, this is Anglers 48 and welcome to the Anglers 48 show. Thank you for joining us on this episode. What are we going to be talking about today, guys? Well, on this episode, we're going to be talking about some overnight fishing spots in Arroyo City, Texas. I want to be talking about some of the fishing spots that I've been to already and some that I want to be able to take advantage of, hopefully in 2024. So, the weather, we're still in winter. We're still getting those cold fronts, and it's very, very challenging, right, in a sense, to get caught out there, and we're freezing our butts off and stuff like that. So we want to be able to be out there, but be enjoying ourselves. I'm not a big fan of fishing and being miserable, right? Sometimes it does come with the territory, but that's what this episode is about. And we've done a number of overnighters, mostly in Arroyo City, in Port Mansfield. But Tony and I, we've done about two of them, right? The first overnighter that we did was right off the channel. There's an inlet, right, where people catch mullets. Maybe 3 blocks from that first inlet that you see. It was on our kayaks, and it was, it was chilly for me. Tony, he slept like a baby, but it wasn't one of those productive nights. More of an experimental type of thing. We got there with some daylight. We set up camp, and one of the things is you're fishing from the channel, so as you're casting out, you're casting into the pit, right? My thing was to get a lot of 5-inch, 7-inch live mullets, right, and keep those alive on the hook as best as can be. Also, that kind of type of fishing, crabs, right? Have a lot of crabs because normally that's what it will hit. We weren't able to acquire any of those types of baits. We did acquire some cut up mullet, but like I said, nonetheless, and I am posting the map of where the general area was that we were fishing at. Once again, it was one of the spots that we frequent during the daytime, but that spot right there didn't produce. Come morning, we were pretty exhausted. I just wanted to get out of there. I didn't, it wasn't biting. It got kind of chilly, so that was one spot. Another spot, further down the arroyo, right before the arroyo opens into the bay, we call that the Y. We were fishing one night. It was an overnighter, beautiful. It was raining most of the day before, early in the morning. But when we got there, it cleared up. It was actually a beautiful evening, beautiful night. I was catching undersized fish, Tony, he looked out. He was able to catch two reds overnight. One was a keeper. Um, Again, we took our cots, right? It wasn't cold or chilly by no means. The weather was a lot nicer. We took our lanterns, a lot of, you know, uh, I guess beverages and stuff, things to eat, just to be able to make it through the night. I was hoping for more productive time, but that wasn't the case. Tony, once again, he was able to get something. Now, come morning, we start heading back home, back to the truck, and that's about an hour drive, if you will, on the kayak. It takes us about an hour to get to the arroyo, or from the arroyo back to the launch. And again, you're going about 2 mile an hour, 3 mile an hour with the kayak. So this is the fishing trip where Tony capsized his kayak, right? And I'm not going to get into that story, but once again, my partner in crime capsized the kayak. I was able to get to him, rescue him, and tragedy averted. But once again, and it was during the weekday. That was one of the things. We went during the weekday. Very little anglers. We were able to get an angler coming from the bay. The angler spotted the over capsized kayak, and he was nice enough to help us carry it over to the shore. I wasn't going to be able to pull it with the kayak. It had so much water in it, so the guy was nice enough to, I guess, tie it to his boat, and he took it to the shore. We emptied the kayak out, and, but that was that spot that we were fishing at. Once again, as you probably saw it already, putting it up on the screen there at spot number 2. Now, before Tony started to go with me, I had a bass boat. It was a hydrosport, and another friend of mine, another 2 of my friends, we went out there and we were fishing on the south side, a little further down from where Tony and I were fishing, but we were fishing off the boat. We were fishing on the boat, right? We didn't make camp. It was actually my first trip on the hydrosport, right? My first trip on the hydrosport. And in this particular fishing trip, the weather seemed like it was going to be good. On this trip right here, it was my first trip on the hydrosport bass boat, first trip, used boat. And I remember losing something very, very big. I had a 40-pound test line on a pen reel, those old school reels. And I remember it was maybe about 30 minutes before dusk. I cast out, right? Set it, and I turned around, right, to go back to the boat with my buddies. And the second I turned around, I only heard bing, right? And I'm like, what the heck was that? I turned around, and I was broken off. Like that. This was some time back already, a couple of years ago. Now, I'm not 100% sure, I may have not completely checked the drag on this one. Okay, normally you're supposed to check that drag. I don't believe that I had it that tight. But once again, 40-pound test line. like that, it popped it. It would have been an exceptional night, I believe. But we're continuing fishing, right? I put another leader, cast it out. Now we're looking at about maybe midnight, right? It's midnight, starting to get choppy, starting to get ugly. What the heck is going on here? My friends, they're not saying anything. But me being the captain, I'm like, I'm sorry, guys. And it was getting, like I said, it was getting ugly. You have a bass boat, right? And then if you're not careful, that boat can run aground and you're screwed. And that's what I was afraid of. I was afraid that chalk was gonna get my boat and run it aground, and I would have been screwed. And that was my responsibility to get my buddies safe. So, you it goes through your mind, oh, it's gonna pass, right? It'll pass. But I didn't want to chance it. And then all of a sudden you starts to get a little bit worrisome, where you can get turned around like this. I knew that the port was east, right? Or west, rather. But I saw a boat coming and started my boat up. Boom. Follow that boat. And we were out of there. Funny thing is, we get to the port, right? We get to the launch. Everything is calm. Everything is serene. And we're looking at each other like, what just happened? Where's all the ugliness? Where's all, But we were all wet. We just, called it a night. But that was a rough experience. Had it not gotten ugly, maybe it would have turned into an awesome experience. Now, where do I want to fish? Well, there's a couple of spots. Back when I was younger and still living at home and fishing with my dad and I, we would fish there at the Y. Obviously, as the Y opens, my dad would choose either the south side or the north side. And we would be casting, either we would be casting, to the east, right? South side or the north side. Now, the north side, I've noticed that there has been a lot of erosion. So there's no flat surfaces to fish. On the south side, about maybe 3 or 4 blocks going south, right? There at the bay, there's some flat spots. Tony and I, we were fishing in that general area. That would be a good spot. I told him I wanted to check it out first, just to make sure that the bottom, that the ground is hard. We don't want to fish where we're going to be sinking. Every step is going to be, a slip. So now if it's as hard as this concrete here, it's going to be awesome, right? But if it's pretty bad, I don't want to fish there. It may be a good spot, but you're slipping and sliding. That's no good. That would be a good spot. I remember once again with my dad, we would be hitting the spot, and my dad's friends would already be there, and we were doing evening and night fishing. And from the shore, he's raising those reds. Look what I've got. It's not even night yet. And other times we would be there early, and my dad would be like, look what we got. So it's going to be bringing back some memories of when, we used to be out there. But I'm not as brave as my father. I'm checking the weather, making sure that the winds are right, that the weather is good. So that's a good fishing spot. But everything has to be aligned. All the stars have to be aligned. Tony and I have to be in sync. The weather has to be good. That's a good spot. Then the other spot that I was thinking of is north of the Y. All right? North. You head north. Maybe about 2.5 miles. There's a break. Right? In these two spots, there's a break in the area. That means fish are coming and going. There's fish going in to that little cut. Fish are coming out of it. So there's constant motion. There's constant moving. Now, from what I remember from my father, is we would drive the boat in, and once it wasn't able to go any further, we would get off and we would walk the boat close to the shore and tie it down, anchor it down. We weren't, at least I wasn't, I was a kid, but I don't believe my father was, I don't think, it's going to be morning and the boat is going to be aground. And that's what Tony and I kind of worry about. We got to get used to these spots, make sure that the boat isn't stuck, right? Because of the different tides, And I don't believe, not in those spots. I think high tide or low tide, the boat should be good in those spots. And as you can see, in those maps that I'm put up there, there's little cuts that are going in. Now another spot that I wanted to try is Green Island. I think it's a little further north, if I'm not mistaken. We used to hit Green Island quite a bit, my father and I. So that's another spot. And the good thing about the islands is, whichever way it's better. If the wind is coming from the south, right? You just go around where the island is gonna block the wind. You see? And it's gonna help you with the casting. Now, once again, you also have to be very prepared. The elements. You gotta take all the necessary measures. Let somebody know where you're gonna be at. But we're looking at 2 to 3 mile an hour winds. If we see that on the map, on the weather, that's the one that we need to do. We can't do, it's going to be 10 mile an hour. No. 10? No. It's got to be 2 to 3 miles an hour. In case if it's wrong, it'll go up just a little bit to about 5, 6. Right? But yeah, those are the spots that I want to try. I'm gonna once again, Tony, just go back. Tony, he already found the leak on his boat, and he wants to give it a go again, but this time to Port Mansfield, and we want to see if this severe low tide can get itself taken care of. I know that in late January and all of February we have a severe low tide, and it doesn't affect us that much in Port Mansfield, but I know certain areas at the island do get affected. A lot of people, when they go to the island, when they go to Port Isabel, the bayside is affected. Some of the fishing spots at the island also are affected. They can't get their kayaks in there. There's a lot of oysters, debris, where when the tide isn't low, they'll just get on their kayaks and head on in. So yeah, I'll leave you with that, guys. Like I said, hopefully we can do some overnighters, and we don't want anything too big. We want to be able to fight those monsters like the one that I did in Port Mansfield. But we also want to be able to catch some, right, and bring some. So, those are welcome. Those good monsters, they're welcome. But you don't want to be catching monster after monster, and when it's time to come home, you bring 0 back, right? You only bring back stories. So it's like my friend Johnny says, don't tell me stories. Tell me which fish is mine. That's what he wants to hear. So I'll see if I can, catch one and give it to him as a gift. He's a good friend of mine. Mine and Tony's. So we'll leave you with that, guys. If you haven't subscribed, help anglers out. Hit that subscribe button. I have a lot of inshore wade, kayak, and boating adventures. If you wanna look into that, and please comment. I would greatly appreciate you guys commenting. Maybe you've done an overnight fishing trip. How was it? Was it? Because like I said, fishing trips are awesome, but until you do it, an overnighter, right? And there are several overnighters, right? I've done a fishing trip where it's an overnight trip, and it's more hanging out, maybe doing a cookout, and just being with the friends rather than, And I've also done, an overnighter with friends where we're all, catching. We're not too much into the conversation thing, but when you do one of those, it's a special fishing trip. I guess I'll leave you with that. I'll be coming up with more shows related to the law that's coming up. I'll try to sprinkle a little bit of discussion on what we think of overfishing, our fishing areas, and are we really fishermen when we pass up a little canal, or if lake fishing doesn't interest us, or because I'll get into that some other time, right? But for right now, I'll leave you. Thank you for watching, and until next time, from far Texas, Anglers 48 in the Anglers 48 show, signing off.